So learning guitar is hard. Anyone who's ever tried can tell you that, and I can speak from experience. There's been times when I wanted to give up. But there's also some main reasons that most people fail at it. In this video, I'm going to talk about 5 reasons that most people fail at learning guitar and show you how to avoid these pitfalls. And these 5 things don't just apply to guitar, but they also apply to practically anything you try to do in life. As Miyamoto Musashi says in the book of 5 Rings, if you know the way broadly, you will see it in everything. So if you want to drastically improve your chances of success with learning guitar or practically anything else, this is the video for you. Alright, so the first reason that you fail at guitar is you give up. And a lot of times it's not a hard giving up. For example, putting your guitar away and saying, I'm never going to play this again. For most people, giving up means fewer and fewer practice days, less focused practice that dwindles away to occasionally noodling around on a guitar that sits in the corner dusty most of the time. So Michael Jordan, possibly the greatest basketball player ever, pushed himself to make 1,000 shots every day of practice. And he would practice 6 days a week. So that's 6,000 shots a week, which over a 15-year career translates to making over 4 million practice shots in order to make 24,000 actual shots in a real game. So this is an extreme example of the type of consistency you need to master anything. And while I know most of you don't want to be the Michael Jordan of guitar playing, but what you need to take from this example is that consistent practice every day over a long period of time adds up. So a common example of what it takes to master anything is the 10,000 hours principle. So based on this rule, if you wanted to master the guitar, you'd need to play for at least 2 hours every day for over 13 years. And mastery is an excellent goal if you have the time. But again, not everyone's goal is to master the guitar. But if we take this principle of consistent practice, we can reach guitar competency and fluency very quickly. While the 10,000 hours rule applies to mastery, to be competent at a new skill, it really only takes 20 hours of deliberate practice. So what this means is if you just practice 15 minutes a day, in under 3 months you will be competent at the guitar. So again, 15 minutes a day seems like nothing, but when you show up consistently, it adds up. And if you're a little bit ADHD like me and you're having trouble with motivation, there's a neuroscience hack you can reuse to rewire your brain to reward practice. So one of the tips that neuroscientist Andrew Huberman proposes is to hack how we frame practice in our mind. So most people get a small dopamine hit either while they're practicing or at the end of practice. But a lot of people have trouble motivating to start the practice in the first place. So what we want to do is kind of rewire our brain to produce dopamine not just during practice and after practice, but in the events leading up to practice. So how we do this is we positively anticipate the events that precede your practice. So maybe we reframe in our mind how hard practice is going to be as a challenge to overcome. Or maybe we try to positively reframe the struggle of practice with the feeling that it's going to be when we're done and we've completed our 15 minutes, knowing that if we just do it every day for 3 months, we're going to reach our goal. In a short amount of time, this hack will slightly alter the dopamine reward system in our brain and make the initial motivation barrier easier to overcome. And so the next reason you fail at guitar is you don't try. And when I say this, I don't mean that you don't physically try to play the guitar. I mean that you hit a roadblock and you don't try alternate solutions to get around it. Most guitar players are going to hit multiple plateaus over the course of learning guitar. They're going to hit multiple roadblocks. Speaking from experience, the better you get at guitar and the more you push yourself to get better, the more roadblocks you're going to hit. But usually by that time, you've realized that roadblocks are only temporary. So it took Thomas Edison almost 3,000 tries to invent the light bulb. And all along, people were saying it was never going to happen. But he knew that it was possible, and if he kept trying over a long enough period of time, he'd eventually figure it out. And that's the way you need to approach playing guitar. So when we hit these roadblocks, we need to diagnose what the problem is, search for alternate solutions, and then try each one until they work. And every time we plateau or hit a roadblock, we repeat this process. So an example of this is, let's say you're trying to play a new difficult part or solo from a song, and you have the tab, but you just can't play it properly or fast enough. We're gonna first try and diagnose where the issue is occurring. So maybe we can play the first several notes, but we start falling apart after that. Or maybe we can play the pattern slowly, but when we speed up, we have an issue with it. But we need to find the specific area where things start going off the rails. Then once you diagnose the problem, we're going to look for alternate solutions. So maybe we're trying to downpick everything when we need to use alternate picking. Maybe we're playing the correct notes, but we're playing on the wrong part of the fretboard. Maybe we need to try and find a video of someone playing it and copy their style. Whatever it is, we're now seeking alternative solutions to the problem, which is eventually going to solve the issue. And unfortunately, most of the time with guitar, if you can't play a part, a lot of it is a skill issue. You just might not have developed the coordination yet. But the good news is once you have diagnosed how to play it, you can slow down and build the muscle memory while gradually speeding it up until you can get it. And be confident that eventually you will get it. Which brings us to the next reason you fail, and that's bad habits. So per Andrew Huberman and the latest neuroscience research, with each repetition of a habit, small changes occur in the cognitive and neural mechanism associated with procedural memory. So if we're constantly practicing using bad picking technique, sloppily playing rushed phrasings that we're maybe not capable of playing yet, or other such bad habits, we're reinforcing bad habits in our procedural memory. And our procedural memory is the mechanism that controls the specific sequence of things that need to happen in order for a particular outcome to occur. So if we lock these bad habits in our procedural memory, we're not only going to lock them in for the phrases we're trying to learn, our procedural memory is going to lock them in as the process for every time we play certain types of phrasings that are similar. So for example, if we're trying to learn a fast phrasing and we're really sloppy with our hammer-on pull-offs, our procedural memory is going to think that's the way we want to play those hammer-on pull-offs in everything. So it sounds basic, but what we want to do is we always want to use proper technique when we're practicing and playing. When we're learning a difficult new phrase pattern or riff, slow it down to the speed where you can play everything properly. And sometimes even slow it down farther than that. You'll be surprised at the nuances that you don't notice when you're playing at half speed versus a quarter speed. And an important supplement to maintaining good habits is something that a lot of professional athletes and professional musicians use, and that's visualization. So not only are we going to practice playing the proper way, we can also visualize in our mind, outside of practice time, ourselves playing the riff, scale, or pattern the proper way. Using visualization techniques drastically increases the chances of building a proper habit. Which leads us to the fourth reason you fail, and that's thinking negative thoughts. And I know this sounds a little woo-woo, but there's hard science behind the fact that your subconscious brain reinforces the thoughts that you have most frequently. So if you're frustrated at practice and you're thinking things like, I suck, I'll never get this, everyone is better than me, or I have no talent, your subconscious brain will focus on these things and emphasize it more in your reality. And this basically happens because you're embedding negative intention into your subconscious brain. So your subconscious brain runs constantly behind the scenes, and it reacts to the thoughts that you put in it. If you think negatively a lot, your subconscious brain will grab onto that and believe that that's what you're intending. So if you think in your brain, I'll never get this, your subconscious mind is thinking he's telling us not to get this, he's telling us not to do it, and it will bring to the surface all the reasons that you are having trouble, as opposed to focusing on maybe some of the small wins that you're not even noticing now because you're reinforcing these negative thoughts. So we want to reinforce our subconscious with positive thoughts and outcomes. This will allow our subconscious brain to reinforce and reward positive outcomes while minimizing the effects of negative outcomes. What you believe in your subconscious mind is how you interpret reality, and how you see reality guides where you're going to go in reality. So I'm not advocating gaslighting your subconscious, but we need to retrain from negativity to positivity. So if you're struggling, you can think this is hard, but I'm going to work on it until I get it. Or if you think you have no talent or everyone's better than you can reframe this thought as there's always going to be better guitar players than me. I can't control that. But as long as I'm improving every day, I'm moving towards my goals. Or if something's really difficult, you can think the harder this is, the more rewarding it will be when I finally get it. And lastly, there are people who are born with more natural talent. You can't control that. So you can think, I can't control how much natural talent I have, but I can control how much and for how long I show up every day. And the last reason you fail is you don't have a mentor. And this one really hit home for me because I'm self-taught as a guitar player, and I spent years struggling before the internet, trying to figure out how to play things, what to learn, without very good resources. So you wouldn't go hiking in Death Valley without a guide. Or at least I wouldn't. I mean, you may eventually find your way out and you might not die, but you're probably gonna waste a lot of time, not have as rewarding of an experience, and run into a lot of dead ends. So a mentor is like having a guide who's been there before. They most likely hit the roadblocks or the plateaus that you're hitting. They know the technique, dead ends, and pitfalls to avoid. And they can provide that spark of motivation when you feel like you're ready to give up. As Isaac Newton said, if I have seen further, it's because I stood on the shoulder of giants. And this is a great point because every new guitar player shouldn't have to recreate the wheel and struggle through the same things that the first person to ever pick up a guitar struggled through. There's kids these days on Instagram and YouTube that play like the virtuosos of the 80s. And that's because these great guitar players before them showed them the way while they continued on the path. And while YouTube can be a great resource, it's kind of like being dropped in the jungle with no map. You might see what's right in front of you and get little bits of information here and there, but you're not seeing the whole picture and how everything ties together. And that's where a great mentor can step in. And while I'm also going to insert the shameless plug for my beginner guitar course here, nothing beats finding an in-person local guitar teacher in your area who can mentor you through your formative years. I really wish that I had one who would have saved me a lot of time. So that's it for this one. I hope it gave you some information to avoid some of the failure spots that I see a lot of people falling into. And check out my website, scottobrienguitar.com. I have my beginner guitar course up right now. It takes you from scratch, like never having played guitar before, all the way up to rock and roll proficiency in 10 easy to follow lessons with some cool songs to learn along the way. And I'll see you guys next time.